there's a lot of times where fear has held me back and I've been too slow. But the times where I have just honored, here's the choice that I need to make, I've never regretted it. And that's the cool thing. So when you answer that question for yourself, assuming you have all the courage you need, what action could you take that would have the greatest impact on your life? Whatever intuitive answer popped up in the moment that I first asked that question, you knew your answer.
You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling. I'm the business psychologist, the author of the 4-Week Vacation and the How to Hire the Best series, as well as the founder of Tap the Potential, where we coach entrepreneurs like you to design sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Because after all, we believe work supports life, not the other way around. Weekly on the Profit by Design podcast, we bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire.
Hi there. I want to ask you a powerful question. Assuming you have all the courage you need, what action could you take that would have the greatest impact on your life? Let that sink in for a moment. It's such a powerful question. And I'm reflecting on this because earlier this week, I spoke about work supports life at QuickBooks Connect, and it was a wonderful presentation. And this is how I closed the presentation. And as I closed the presentation with this powerful question, I invited participants in the room, if they saw me around the conference throughout the remainder of the day, pull me aside and tell me their answer to that question. And I had multiple conversations as a result of that powerful question. And what I left with, I was so struck by all the ways we entrepreneurs get in our own way. And so I want to talk about that today. Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, by the way. I'm the business psychologist here at Tap the Potential. So back to our powerful question here that's on the table. Assuming you have all the courage you need, what action could you take that would have the greatest impact on your life? The first time I asked this question was on a teleconference. Yes, way back in the day before we had Zoom, we had teleconferences. And a client, or he was not a client at the time, but he became a client. One of the participants said, and he knew his answer immediately. And I said, well, what is it? And he said, I want to place a bid on a new building. And I thought, wow, that's great. And then I had a conversation with him offline after that, and he explained, this is going to be a huge expense. It's a significant leap. I haven't told my wife. And he said, but I knew it in my gut. That was the right thing to do. And I felt a little trepidation myself when he said, and I haven't told my wife. But you know what? He went on to purchase that building. His wife was behind the decision. She knew it was more than time to do this, to pull the trigger, and it allowed their business to expand. And since then, they've expanded to multiple locations, and they are a thriving, profitable business. This was many, many years ago. And so what I'm struck by from all of that, though, is he just completely became aware of how he was getting in his own way of his business success. And as I asked this conversation at QuickBooks Connect, and I spoke with different people who were in the room afterwards, and they came up and they shared their answers with me. Number one, I was really honored by the trust that they placed in me to share some very difficult personal situations in their lives. And what really stood out to me is the intersection of our personal lives with our business. And we know that at Tap the Potential. I mean, we're all about work supports life, not the other way around. And one of the things our Better Business, Better Life program is known for is that we are holistic. We work with you on designing your business to be profitable and build a great team. And we're also helping you improve your life. And we have clients who take part in our Dream Manager program that our lead strategist, Melissa Swire, teaches, who are making major life decisions and changes because they're owning what they really want. And I've also heard in the recent weeks some very sad stories of, relationships ending. And as I was listening to these business owners talk about these situations, one of the things that really just stood out to me is that we know in our gut level what we need to do for ourselves and what's the right thing and the choices. And we, because of fear, because of not wanting to let others down or disappoint others, or the significantly uncomfortable discussions that need to be held in these situations, we avoid it. We let situations drag on for years and years. And one of the awarenesses I had from talking to one of the entrepreneurs is that there was a courageous decision that had been made a year or two ago. And it was a very hard decision. It was a decision that had been postponed. It was around a significant relationship that was impacting the business owner's life. It had been postponed for several years, and the business performance obviously suffered for several years. There was a lot of stagnation because this situation pulled the owner's attention away from the business. And once the change was made, it was a relief. And the description that was given to me was like this weight just dropped off my shoulders. And the other comment was, I was not aware of how preoccupied and how much emotional weight I had been carrying around because of this situation. And when that was released, there was the opportunity not just to focus on grow the business and improve the business. That naturally happened, that unfolded. But the first focus was looking at, what do I want in life? And I loved hearing that story of, I paid attention to me for the first time in a long time after I quit worrying about what was going to happen if I made this big decision. And the decision was made, and it was tough in the moment. But afterwards, then I could think about, what do I want? What's important to me? And then as they were sharing with me, they were talking about what blossomed in their life, the new things, the new opportunities that have come their way, how they've gotten to know themselves better in a different way. And I'm sharing that with you because if you're in that place where you know there is something you need to deal with in your life that is holding you back, it's causing you pain, it's causing you suffering, as you reflect on having all the courage you need, and that's the action that you would take, I want to encourage you, you do have that courage. And there's some powerful questions that can help you get over that hump. So one of those powerful questions is, what's on the other side of this for me? What will it feel like after I've had that conversation? And how will I look back on this 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 5 years from now? Also thinking about who else is impacted by you not making this tough decision, right? Are there other family members who are impacted? Are there team members who are impacted? Who else is impacted by you avoiding a tough decision? And what's on the other side for them when you do make that courageous decision and you have the conversations that you need to have and take the actions that you need to take? So often we focus on the immediate, like, oh my gosh, it's going to be horrible, or the first few months after that decision is made, like, oh my gosh, how will we manage things? Life is going to be so different. Yes. I mean, let's face it, we're all human and we can be resilient and we will get through those tough things. But if we allow the fear of things will be hard for a while to hold us back from making the decisions that we know will improve the quality of our lives, right? Because that's really what that question gets at, is what can you do that will improve the quality of your life? If we hold ourselves back from making those tough decisions, we're really holding ourselves back in life. Like, we are standing in our own way. And one of the things that I have learned, because I'm a coach, I walk my talk. That's been one of my immutable laws ever since I became a coach. I remember going through coach training, and there were others who were participating in the foundations course with me, and it was recommended that we get our own coach. And I talked to some of the people who were in my peer group, and I was the only one who was actually going to go ahead and get my own coach. And I was really surprised by most of them saying, I'm not going to make that big of an investment. And I thought, you're going to coach other people, but you won't pay for your own coach. What's up with that? And from that moment on, I decided I've got to walk my own talk. So I have lived in this question for many, many years. And yes, I have avoided answering it at times, and it's cost me dearly. And the times when I have answered it and just moved forward, I've always appreciated how much clarity gets created in my life. So I'm not saying I'm perfect, that every time I know I have to take courageous action, I just run off and do it. There's a lot of times where fear has held me back and I've been too slow. But the times where I have just honored, here's the choice that I need to make, I've never regretted it. And that's the cool thing. So when you answer that question for yourself, assuming you have all the courage you need, what action could you take that would have the greatest impact on your life? Whatever intuitive answer popped up in the moment that I first asked that question, you knew your answer. And don't think about 5 more answers, because that's just avoiding the initial answer. Pay attention to whatever that initial answer was for you. And I also want to share with you, you are not alone. We have conversations like this all the time with the business owners in our Better Business, Better Life groups, because they know they have to clean things up in the business and they have to deal with tough employee situations. But sometimes there's the conversations that happen either in group or privately with our strategists and our team around tough personal issues that are impacting us in the business. And we support there too. We support you in looking at, what do you need and what decisions can you make that will bring your life into alignment with your core values. So there's something so fascinating to me about our life satisfaction. And that is that when we have areas of our life that are not honoring our core values, we're going to feel dissatisfied all around, like across the board in our life. It lowers our happiness all around. And then when we feel that vague sense of dissatisfaction, we know something is off and we just can't put our finger on it, we really have to stop and reflect on what are our core values and how are those not being honored, and what choices do we have in front of us that will help us to honor our core values. And sometimes those choices are very, very hard to make, but that's where having the support of other business owners and coaches really becomes valuable, because instead of just circling around in your head and avoiding making tough choices and doing what you know is going to make life better, you get the opportunity to have a conversation and hear yourself talk this out loud and hear a different perspective. That's the beauty of when these tough situations are shared in our Better Business, Better Life groups. It's a safe, supported environment. It's a confidential environment. And there's the opportunity to have others ask powerful questions that open up your perspective on the situation, that maybe help you see it from a different angle. I know in my life, I've been pretty public that I've been divorced. And I remember having a conversation with one of my friends several years before I actually got divorced. But she got me off of the swirling, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she said, what do you think your kids are learning about relationships as they watch this? And I thought, oh my gosh, she's right. And so that was just an outside perspective that got me thinking in a very different direction than I had been thinking. And that's where I started putting things in motion and in place for myself to be able to make a change. And at that point, I stopped wavering. I knew that I know my path forward here. And so that's the value of other caring people who can hear the situation and can reflect back to you, hey, have you thought about this? Or have you thought about it from that angle? So if you're listening to this and you are recognizing you need some support, you have some major changes you need to make, book a call with us at Tap the Potential and let us talk with you about your situation, whether it's in your business or your personal life, because it all impacts together, right? The things that we are struggling with in our personal lives bleeds energy away from the business, and vice versa. When there's problems in the business, it has a huge negative impact on our personal lives. And that's, when you take our Better Business, Better Life assessment and we look at those burnout scores, a lot of times that burnout level is not just in relation to what's going on in the business. It's in relation to the fallout in your personal life because of the things that have gone on in the business. So book a call with us at tapthepotential.com. When you get to the webpage, you'll see right at the top, book a call. We would love to talk with you and support you in really identifying what it is that you need, what's going to make the greatest impact in your life, and going for it.
Thank you for spending time with me today. Join me in our Tap the Potential Mighty Networks community at tapthepotential.com/group. Share your aha moments from today's episode, ask me questions, and join in on the fun with your fellow entrepreneurs on the journey to designing sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Isn't it time you take your life back? And finally, share today's episode with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this.